Are there any problems to have the credits transfer back, or?
Not if they're within one of our partnerships. So full-length study abroads are the semester abroads and year-length study abroads. And so those are intentionally organized so that a student wouldn't be behind when they got back to Warren Wilson. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. And so could a student at Warren Wilson, let's say, study abroad at Richmond? Would that be possible?
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure.
I hope so.
It's not one of our formal partnerships that we have right now, but maybe in the future our study abroad office might look at that. And I studied abroad at Lancaster University in England when I was in college, and and I was an English major, and so I studied Shakespeare in England, which was really fascinating for me. And then when I got back home, I wasn't behind. And I think that that's an anxiety that some students have sometime about the study abroad program. So, we really try hard to make sure that doesn't happen.
Good. And Nick, could you study, if let's say I was a Richmond student, could I study abroad at Warren Wilson?
You probably could, and I say probably only because it's not something that many, if any, of our students have done. Perhaps they should.
Well, part of my job here as the host is to get you guys together. It's kind of a marriage service.
Yes.
Most people don't know
great.
that. That's the job.
No, perfect.
Job
perfect.
of host, yes.
But interestingly enough, we not only have campuses in London, we also have a study centre in Florence, Italy, and in Rome, Italy. So you can spend a semester, in fact, up to a year of your undergraduate degree at Richmond in Italy. So there is a kind of inbuilt study abroad, if you like, at Richmond that is offered to all of our students.
And so you mentioned that you had a lot of students from the Middle East.
Yes.
So if I came from Kuwait, and I was a student at Richmond, so you're saying I could conceivably study abroad in Italy, but could I also study abroad at New York University or at UDC or at American University?
You might be able to. I would say that in most cases, a student like that who's moving around quite a bit will come to us as a transfer student, perhaps in their junior year, perhaps in their sophomore year, and then graduate from Richmond rather than keep hopping around. But certainly, I think anything is theoretically possible.
Fair enough. And in terms of what students would study, maybe could you explain to some of our viewers, Nick, we'll start with you, what are some of maybe the 2 or 3 biggest subjects that students study at Richmond?
Good question. I think first and foremost, probably our biggest strength is our international relations major. London is such a conducive city for international relations. It's so international. Walking down the street, every 4th or 5th person you pass will be speaking a different language, and these are not tourists, these are people who live and work there. It's very international. We offer an internship option to our juniors and seniors so that they can study in an organisation or company, earning academic credit towards their degree while they do so, and they can be major specific. So for example, if you were majoring in international relations, you could intern at the House of Commons or the Conservative Party or the Labour Party. If you were majoring in international business, there are any number of world famous companies at which you could intern in London. If you're a history major, you could intern at the British Museum. So that really helps us stay plugged into London and offer our students an extension of the classroom into London.
Well, this sounds great. In fact, we're going to move this show to London for the next taping.
Fantastic.
This sounds terrific.
Fantastic.
We're ready to go. Katie, in terms of the majors that you would have, what are the major majors? What are the number 1, 2, 3 majors that people would do at Warren Wilson?
Definitely. So environmental studies is huge for us at Warren Wilson. We're a school that has taken to heart very seriously commitments to the environment, and so students will come to us wanting that, seeking that. And within environmental studies, there's about 6 different concentrations, and so some popular ones are sustainable agriculture, because there you are, you're getting on the farm again. Right. Or maybe you're looking at environmental education. We have an eco team of students who go into schools and teach little kids how to be green. So, there's those levels of integration that happen at Warren Wilson. Creative writing is also huge for us. So on the other side of the thing, the other side of the brain. And again, we have the literary magazine that you can work on as a work program, or write for the newspaper, or write for our alumni magazine. And so there's so many ways to connect what you're learning in the classroom to what you're doing in the work program. And so those 2 majors are huge. Global studies, anthropology, sociology, social work is huge. Outdoor leadership is another one.
Well, can we get to the literary magazine? Because I'm not sure I knew about your literary magazine.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's called The Peel, and so everything that happens on our campus, students do. Okay, so we have 110 crews, and students are responsible for everything. And so one example
Time out.
is...
You said you have 110 crews, you only have 1,000 students?
Right, right.
So I heard that right.
You did, you
Wow,
did,
okay.
110 crews. And so each
Okay.
crew is headed up by a work crew supervisor who becomes a mentor for students as well. But The Peel is a literary magazine that students select get the submissions from staff and faculty and students, and they go over them, they edit the magazine, and they produce this really polished literary magazine that they can be proud of. And that 4 years of experience, if you're a creative writing major and your parents are saying, okay, you're majoring in creative writing, what are you doing, what's your backup plan? But you have 4 years of working on the literary magazine, a really practical application of what you've been learning, then chances are you'll get a job in that field, because you have that to rely on. So that's just one way.
Huh, fair enough. And in terms of the sustainable development, and I wanted to play off something that Nick suggested before, and Nick, I realized from your accent that you were not born on this side of the Atlantic. But Katie and our accents are a little bit more similar. In terms of the United States, we have a very long agricultural history. In our cities, we tend not to talk about that so much, but we have it's a very big country. The United States is a very large country, and there's a very long and rich history of agriculture. And it seems to be forgotten in a lot of places. Are you carrying the flag for that?
Oh, absolutely. That's a really great question. Warren Wilson was founded as the Asheville Farm School for Boys back in 1894. And so we've always had a working farm as part of our livelihood, our existence, our ethos. So certainly, I think, and then also modernizing these techniques that farmers are using, because we realize how important it is to take care of our environment. We have a river that runs through our campus, and our farm is a river-friendly farm, which means that we go to great lengths to protect the river from any sort of farm, detritus or refuse.
Right. So now, can people visit the farm if they're just visiting? Or?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're a very open campus. We're situated on about 1,300 acres, and so you can go hiking throughout our hiking trails, but the farm is always open for visitors, as well as the garden. You can always come in and check out the piglets or the cows. It's a very open environment, and that's what we offer, because when you have people who are working together, who are responsible for one another, I'm responsible for you, you're responsible for Mark is responsible for me, it changes the way you think and feel and act as a student.
Right, and let's say I grow up in Washington, D.C. I'm an urban kid, right? And is Warren Wilson for me? What kind of adjustment is this going to be?
Absolutely. I tell prospective students all the time, there's 110 crews and 4 of them are outside. So you've got the landscape, farming, forestry, and garden crews. That means 106 of them are indoors, right? So if you are into computers, there's the web crew and the networking crew and the computing services desk. Or if you are into theater, work behind the scenes and do set design and lighting. There's a lot of different options for you to explore. And you don't have to stay on the same crew for 4 years. You can jump around if you'd like. It might behoove you to get a lot of experience if you wish to be working for a newspaper. Maybe you'd like to work for a newspaper for 3 years, but maybe for that final year you want to do something totally different, blacksmithing or fiber arts. So the work program offers a lot of different opportunities for you to explore a wide range of fields. And it's true with the other work colleges as well.
Great, terrific. And Nick, in terms of the theater,
yes.
Katie just raised the issue of the theater.
Yes.
I assume you have some sort of theater program.
We do. We have a minor in theatre. We're thinking about introducing it as a major, but at the moment it's just a minor. Of course, London offers a fantastic array of theatre opportunities. I think the only city to rival it probably is New York. So certainly in terms of viewing theatre, London's a fantastic place to be. In terms of studying it as a minor, Richmond is also a fantastic place to do so.
Fair enough. I think we're going to run out of time in just a few minutes, but if I can just ask both of you to just maybe help the viewer understand who might be a little nervous or a little scared about taking the jump, because these are unorthodox educational options that we're sharing today, right? I mean, most people in the United States go to an American school in the United States, and they don't go to a work college, they go to a more traditional school. So what are some of the things that people are afraid of when people come into your offices to chat with you about it? And then, what are they afraid of? And then two, how would you kind of explain how they can get over those fears, if in fact it's possible?
Well, I think we all have a sort of innate fear of being different to an extent, and I think that our students and families worry about, you know, how different am I going to be? How different is my son or daughter going to be? You know, one of the nice things about Richmond is that our motto is unity and diversity, and this is really something that is lived by on campus. It's not just an empty slogan. And a story I like to tell to kind of illustrate this is back from one of my first visits to Richmond several years ago, which happened to be taking place during Ramadan. And my student ambassador was showing me around. We kept bumping into one of his friends, and after about the third encounter he said, "I just have to tell you, she happens to be an atheist, but because we're in the middle of Ramadan, she's fasting out of respect for all her Muslim friends." So, you know, Richmond is a place where people practice what they preach. It's very tolerant, very open, and your differences are celebrated rather than scorned.
And Katie, what would you say to the person who's a little afraid?
Well, wonderful. I mean, it's funny, Nick brought up the slogan, and ours is Warren Wilson College, we're not for everyone, but then again, maybe you're not everyone, and I think that students coming in might have some anxieties about that. You know, also we hear a lot about time management, but there's tons of resources available to help students. But I think it is the different type of student who will seek out these unconventional opportunities, you know, because they're seeking a level of engagement that doesn't exist elsewhere, we believe. So it's exciting to think about how can I spend the next 4 years engaged in a very different way and give back and do work and learn how to get dirty and go to class.
So you're encouraging kids to get dirty and get in the mud?
Absolutely.
And can you say a word or two, just what are the other work colleges?
Oh, absolutely. So we've got Berea College, as you said, in Kentucky, Alice Lloyd College also in Kentucky, Sterling in Vermont, College of the Ozark in Missouri, Ecclesia in Arkansas, and I think that's it. Oh, Blackburn College in Illinois.
Okay, and Nick, there are other U.S. universities abroad. Would you say a word or two about some of the other ones?
Sure. There's an organization called American Colleges Overseas, ACO, of which we are a member, but they include other institutions like the American University in Paris, American College of Greece, Franklin University Switzerland, Franklin College Switzerland, I should say. So there are American universities and colleges all over the world, pretty much.
Well, I think you've both shared some very interesting information with our viewers today. So thank you both for coming on to the show and sharing with us information about an American university in Europe and a work college in the United States. If you would like additional information about Warren Wilson College in North Carolina or Richmond University in London, please visit their websites at warren-wilson.edu or richmond.ac.uk. Thank you for watching. We will continue to bring you quality discussions about important matters in today's college and university world. Please join me again for another edition of Higher Education Today. I'm Steven Roy Goodman, and you've been watching Higher Education Today.